Shana Tova. As Rabbi Jay mentioned, my name is Rob Unich, and I'm co-president of ATC. It's an honor to be able to address you today. I'd like to start by thanking Dr. Arthur Malik for serving as my co-president and Bob Bornstein for his many years of dedication. The scholar and Massachusetts native Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "Do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." This is a tall task. The Jewish people have taken the long way for thousands of years, and while ATC has paved a trail for more than 100 years. But the Jewish community is changing. The overall number of Jews in the United States has hovered around 7 million people, just 2% of the country's population. To put it another way, there are more residents of the 5 boroughs of New York City than there are Jews in the United States. Locally, there are approximately 284,000 Jews in the greater Boston area, and about 11,000 combined in Sharon, Canton, and Stoughton, according to the latest research. Our challenges are steep, but I'm here to tell you on this Rosh Hashanah that good news is abundant. Generations of people throughout Jewish history have paved the way for us to create our own paths. Jews have been adapting for our entire existence, and there's no reason to stop now. In fact, all we need to do is look to the Torah for a map. In Deuteronomy, Moses delivers a series of discourses before he sends the Jewish people into Israel with Joshua. Chapter 6, verse 4 contains what has become the most important prayer in Judaism, the Shema. The familiar first words, as we all know, are "Hear, O Israel." Not speak, not mandate, not dictate. Listen. Listen to understand, not to respond. Listen to learn, not to judge. Here are the words that are being shared, and absorb them. As I sometimes joke, use those things on the side of your head. When it came time for the leader of the Jewish people to deliver perhaps his most important message, Moses asked the Israelites to listen. There is no ambiguity. One of my goals for this year is to strengthen our community. As you know, the last 2 years have been difficult as we've been forced to stay home and not see our loved ones and friends. While things are mostly back to normal, there are constant reminders that COVID remains unpredictable. Therefore, it is incumbent for us to focus on ATC's long tradition of family and community to overcome this adversity. In August, many of us participated in what I've dubbed a listening campaign. We called all our fellow members and learned about this fantastic congregation. Some shuls around the country devote an entire year to listening. This is the first stepping stone on this path we're creating. But Moses wasn't done yet. The very next pasuk, verse 5, starts with the word v'ahavta, and you shall love. The concept of love is mentioned numerous times in the Torah. Another famous mention comes in Leviticus chapter 19, verse 18, which says, v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, loosely translated as love your neighbor as yourself. Another scholar comes to mind here, and that is Ozzy Osbourne. If you ever really listen to the first verse of Crazy Train, you might be surprised. The lyrics go, "Crazy, but that's how it goes. Millions of people living as foes. Maybe it's not too late to learn how to love and forget how to hate." While the connotation of the word love is different in these 3 instances, the message is clear. Leaders, and really everybody, should be kind to one another. Reach out to somebody who's been on your mind. Cook a meal for somebody who is sitting Shiva or just had a baby. Call somebody who you haven't seen in a while. Go out of your way to make someone's day. The idea of family is one of the reasons why Alana and I joined ATC. From the moment we stepped foot in this building, we felt welcome and part of the mishpacha. There's no doubt in my mind why ATC has lasted more than 100 years. But unfortunately, we're still one of the best kept secrets around, which leads me to another one of my goals for the year, getting our stories out into the world. My day job is communications manager at Schechter Boston. I've worked in the communications field for most of my career, and since I joined the ATC, I've helped the shul spread the word. We focus on taking more pictures and videos of our great programs. We've increased the number of press releases that are being disseminated. The possibilities are endless. There's so many opportunities to leverage our positive attributes and all it takes is ideas and the willingness to explore new avenues. This trail is just being blazed. Caring for others is a Jewish value. That is especially true in Bereshit, Genesis chapter 18, the next step in our path. As the story goes, 3 visitors appear somewhat spontaneously at the tent Abraham shared with his wife Sarah. Without question or delay, the couple immediately ensured that these men were well fed and made to feel at home. The men, who turns out to be angels of God, help us learn another trait: welcoming guests. The concept of hachnasat orchim, or welcoming guests, stems from this story. It's a mitzvah to include others, make new folks feel welcome, and generally be as hospitable as possible. We don't ask questions or make them feel uncomfortable. We invite them in and be welcoming. Another one of my goals this year centers on events. We've got a beautiful building here at ATC, one that boasts great acoustics and a warm ambiance. Bringing people into this building, welcoming guests, is a great way to expand our community. Whether folks have been here hundreds of times or never at all, we're all ambassadors for ATC. Our job is to not only spread the word, but invite people to join us. Those demographics I mentioned at the beginning make this task more difficult. People aren't flocking to join synagogues or even attend events simply because it's at a shul. But they still want to be entertained and hear interesting speakers or feel at home. That hasn't changed, and it's an important part of our quest. Perhaps the most important way that Abraham discovers a new trail is in Genesis chapter 22, verse 1, which we will read tomorrow. At the beginning of the binding of Isaac, God calls out to Abraham, and Abraham simply says, Hineni, here I am. Abraham doesn't argue, complain, or doubt. He doesn't ask questions. In fact, he doesn't say another word until he speaks to his son to convey God's commandments. And to double down on this trailblazing, he says Hineni again in verse 11. There's something quite powerful about just saying, here I am. Just be there for somebody else. Don't ask what's in it for me or what will they give me in return. Just be there. Say yes when volunteers are needed. Make a minyan. Help your friends and congregants. Assist with bingo. Join a committee. Lend a hand in the office. Be present. Another Massachusetts scholar, James Taylor, sums this concept up perfectly in his famous song penned by his friend Carole King. The familiar refrain goes, you just call out my name, and you know, wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there. You've got a friend. ATC is calling you, our members, friends, and guests, both here in person and virtually. Our beautiful building is costly to maintain. We do not charge for many of our events, but there are still bills to pay. Our new initiatives, some of which I've discussed here today, need to be funded. And unfortunately, dues do not raise enough money to cover all these expenses. My final goal for the year is fundraising. You should have received a letter in the mail recently requesting your support. While we are planning others throughout the year, the High Holiday Appeal is by far our biggest fundraiser. If we do not supplement the amount we receive from dues, we will be forced to reduce our vibrant programming. Our goal for this year's High Holiday Appeal is $20,000. We know this is ambitious, but is the only way to help ATC grow and thrive in the future. Show up, be ready, help however you can. Say Hineni, here I am, and return your pledge card after the holiday ends. As I said at the beginning, it's not easy to create a new path, but now we have some guideposts. Listen, love, be welcoming, be present. Following these principles will not only help ATC, but I'm confident that it will make 5783 our best year yet. Shana Tova Umitsuka. May you all have a happy and sweet year. Thank you.